I'd now like to introduce George Lawson. George is from Alipay, and Alipay is obviously one of the largest online providers, but I'll hand over to George to give an update on Alipay and the applications not only here in China, but also obviously certainly the application here for Australia. Thanks very much.
Thank you. And I was kind of hoping that was more than a table for two for the $170,000 function. Not quite sure what I'm pointing out here. So it makes sense to actually do a bit of background on how Alipay actually fits into the Alibaba ecosystem. And so here on the page we've got a bit of a mud map of the various elements of the Alibaba Group ecosystem. So the first circle is about our logistics service, where we're not into buying trucks and cars and things like that, but it's the logic and the thinking behind logistics. And Jack Ma has a vision of being able to deliver an item from anywhere in the world to somewhere else in the world within 72 hours. That's not a random number. It's based on 24 hours to fly anywhere around the world, 24 hours to get through customs, and 24 hours to actually do local delivery. So his vision is to enable it so that anyone anywhere in the world can do business easily with anyone else. And the electronic platforms that he's got are designed to enable someone in New Zealand or someone in Australia to be able to sell product online as easily as if you're a big business. The marketplaces is what Alibaba's best known for. So this is your B2C and B2B combinations, both within China, so platforms that are only available to Chinese, but also outside of China as well. So people who are purchasing things from China or where China is purchasing from the world. And the next thing is the financial services. So this is the Ant Financial piece, of which Alipay is the biggest bit. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what that actually is over the next little bit. But we also have a lot of financial services as well. We're not a bank, but we actually do provide financial services. We provide a platform through which financial institutions can essentially provide services. So we provide loans to businesses on our platform and also to customers who use our products as well. We have insurance, money market fund, the biggest money market fund in the world. So it's a pretty big place from a financial services perspective. The technical infrastructure is our cloud services. The best example of this is Alipay, where we supported 250,000 transactions per second at 11:11. It's actually multiples bigger than Visa and MasterCard, so it gives you an idea of the scale. When I spoke to our CTO, he was talking about how he's trying to build that up and then collapse it down because you don't need that kind of capacity. So that's the kind of problem he's working on. And the final one is our services. So this is where Jack's vision is over the next 20 years. As this 380, 400 million group of people in China, the middle class becomes more wealthy, they're going to move to higher value services. And so this is Alibaba's play around making sure that there are services there for that. So we've got video streaming, we've got music streaming, mapping services, book a doctor, book a restaurant, book a car. All of these sorts of services interact with our ecosystem. This is now the 21st biggest economy in the world, and our objective is to be 5. So if you think about North America, for example, and Europe and Asia, Alibaba is envisaging themselves as being one of the top 5. So we've already spoken a little bit about this. I think the first presentation showed a bit around the breadth of the applications that actually sit on the platform. It is a lifestyle super app. So if you think about payments applications in Australia, they're pretty much payments applications. They're not really wallets per se. In Alipay's situation, it is actually a wallet. We do have financial services. We provide credit to people, and that's based on your spending behaviour and what we see you doing on our platform. And I've already spoken a little bit about the Yuobao. So this is a money market fund. Think of that as a savings account that actually has a deposit-like capability. So you can buy your coffee with it, and it doesn't bang up your savings account in terms of number of transactions per month. We do have social platform capability on there. I wouldn't be professing that it's anywhere near what WeChat does, but we do have social capability. We've got millions of merchants inside China, and we're actively building it outside of China. But the life services piece is really key. So I can top up my mobile phone when I'm in China just by using the app. I can actually scan a QR code and order food and pay for it while I'm there. I can book a doctor, I can book a movie, I can pay for an Uber. Anywhere in China that you actually have payment, it's essentially being integrated into the Alipay app because of the convenience associated with it. This slide had been no news to you in terms of the number of people coming to market. The 1.2, it's now 1.5 this year and growing to 3.3 million. So I talk about this in the context of the Australian population. Say about 15% of the Australian population will be a Chinese tourist in the not too distant future. So it's a massive, massive opportunity. The spend is significant. Again, that's not news to you and growing very rapidly, and the largest median nights as well. So from this perspective, there's a lot of Chinese actually coming to market. They're spending a lot of money and they're actually staying a long time. When I spoke to Gold Coast Council, they said if I could get a Chinese tourist to stay one more night, it's worth $500 million a year. So the knock-on effect of accommodation, transport, food, etc., is significant. I've gone a bit too far there. I do like that slide before, so I might try and go back to it. Okay, so our user stats, it's actually 600 million now, 80% of them active, so a very big number of wallet users. And you can see in terms of the share of wallet in market, we're 54%. So we're the biggest wallet in China. So essentially what's happened there is they're actually moving quite quickly away from this kind of physical form of payment to a digital form of payment. And we're seeing that right across China simply because of the convenience of it and because of all the other value that's added to the application. So the sorts of capabilities I was talking about before. One of the opportunities that we provide to you as potential merchants of Alipay is being able to interact with the Chinese before they come into market, when they're in market, and actually after they've left market as well. So there's multiple areas that you can do. One of these is Fliggy. So this is our flight booking and accommodation booking engine. And here we're saying that you can actually have your own site on Fliggy. And then when we see someone book a accommodation or a trip to Australia, we can actually tag that information and then serve up your content to them as a way of actually essentially communicating with the Chinese before they come to market. They can then actually add a coupon to the wallet and then come in store and redeem it. So this is a very exciting way for you to start to interact and work with the Chinese when they're showing an intention to come to Australia. When actually in Australia, we have a coupon capability. So this is essentially customised based on location. So when I get out here in Adelaide, I'll have a different series of options to when I actually get out in Sydney. But essentially what it's doing is enabling the Chinese consumer to see what's of interest around them and actually then go into those stores or actually add coupons from those stores. So the middle one there you can actually see has Watson's that has 2 coupons sitting underneath it. And essentially the Chinese consumer adds that into their wallet and then goes into store to redeem it. Now that could be something as simple as spend $100 and get $5 back. Or it could be if you use your credit facility, then there's a money back given at that point in time as well. So it's really about this couponing capability that we've actually got. And on the right-hand side, you can actually see where those coupons are a little bit more detailed. So the idea is that there's a lot of Chinese in market. You would have a store that sits in our app, and then the Chinese consumer would use that to know where you are, and then you would work with our partners who are here today to put coupons on there to actually attract the Chinese into your store. So it's really closing the loop, which no one else can do. There are other payment facilities, but no one has the ability to be able to actually close the loop and actually push coupons to individual Chinese consumers and get them to interact with you. And then after purchase, we have a receipting capability that allows us to be able to actually further communicate with the Chinese guest when they're in market. So the one on the left is essentially saying if you do these 6 things, you'll continue to get a bonus or you'll get a bigger bonus. So we're starting to think about chaining transactions together through our merchants to essentially drive more demand for people to go into your store. We can also have real-time cross-marketing where they can either go off to your page or they could actually redeem another coupon, or it might be something where you provide a discount to them so that when the Chinese guest is back in China again, they can use some of our other assets to essentially interact with you, and that could be a discount for usage there, and then just a coupon required in advance of doing an activity. So again, there's all of these behavioural techniques of being able to communicate with the Chinese when they're in market. I put this slide up, well, one, to show the size of the user base, but two, primarily to indicate that we do have the ability to provide those coupons I was talking about before to individual membership levels. So if you wanted to deal particularly with the diamond or platinum member, so our high spending consumer, we can actually set up coupons and offers that are actually targeted to those consumers, and then they would be the only bunch that would actually see that. So if I'm a Louis Vuitton, for example, this becomes quite important, not necessarily from a discount perspective, but maybe from a Meet the Jeweller or a Champagne and Canaps night, or I've got a new collection that I would like you to come and see. So it gives you that specific ability to be able to target at that particular customer. Now, Chemist Warehouse, for example, very good partner of ours in market, they would be looking at providing a coupon that goes across all segments, not necessarily just that high-end one. But there is the ability for you to be able to target to that consumer. Not having much luck with this. So what do our solutions look like? We've got four partners here in market today. I would very much encourage you to come and talk to them. We've actually seen our terminal numbers go from less than 1,000 to over 10,000 active merchants in market. There are a number of solutions. You can have a static QR code. That's as simple as actually just having a bit of paper with a QR code printed on it that the Chinese consumer essentially scans with their mobile app. So that's a very low cost, very easy solution to get into market. Likewise, a Cashier App. This is essentially an app that you download to the iPad, and you open that app and it becomes like a simple point of sale device where you would actually type in the amount, it generates a QR code, or you can scan the consumer's QR code as well. Then moving into standalone terminals. So this is where you've actually got a terminal that generates a dynamic QR code in this instance, and the consumer scans it with their phone, or again, in some instances, the terminal can actually scan the customer's wallet as well, depending on what scenario you want. And all of our partners in here have these solutions in play and are happy to talk to you about it. The final one there is an integrated solution where you actually have a POS system. And so that POS system then talks to the PIN pad, and I'm working on that. We do have a number of players who do provide that, but it does involve a bit of integration to sort that out. But I'm not far away from some pretty exciting solutions that will enable those across the market as well. A lot of this does get quite confusing, so I do encourage you to come and talk to our partners here today, because they'll be able to actually really work out what solution is best for your business and actually guide you through the process of getting acceptance up and running so that you can communicate effectively with the Chinese consumers. I've got here our partners in Australia, so that's a broader list than here today, but we do have Alipay, ePay, OmniPay and SmartPay here today. SuperPay here today. So by all means, go and talk to them. But we do have a very strong list both here and in New Zealand, and we have here. Our merchant partners in Australia. So as I said, we're now at 8,000. We've been very specific about where we're targeting. We're targeting the Chinese tourist locations, universities, high-end shopping centres, retail and attraction areas are the main locations that we are, but we're definitely up and running, and things are growing very, very rapidly. It's hardly a day goes by now where I don't see merchants actually coming and asking us about acceptance. And I think my final slide is just talking about some of these. I popped that top left one in because my mother didn't so much read the article, but she asked for a copy of the photo. So I had to go back to the Australian and say, is it possible for me to get a copy of the photo? And funnily enough, they actually can provide it. So she did get it. No, but it's good to see that we have cab charge here. So now every cab in Australia's got it. So that's 22,000 taxis. And we've got SmartPay that has 25,000 terminals across New Zealand and Australia as well. So they're integrated solutions. And we've got our partners here in market now who are deploying services as well. And I think that's it from me. Yeah, that's it from me. Thank you.